All right, it is 8 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Shira Nelson, and I am the owner and founder of Mom Beyond Baby. And tonight we're going to talk about a super fun topic for me, probably one of my favorite topics, which is convenient fat loss. And to me, convenient fat loss is making fat loss effortless for us as busy moms. So you know my whole thing is kind of about moms. So tonight we're going to talk about how to make fat loss, how to look and feel our best, effortless, so that we are not stressing about the small stuff. You know, we're not stressing about when we go on vacation or when we go out to eat or whether we're stuck in the drive-thru. How to make it so that we can reach our goals with as little effort as possible on our part and as little mental energy. I always say that a lot because we have so many things going on. So to spend so much time being drained on what are we going to eat and when are we going to work out and all of these other things, it has to come from somewhere else. And I think we can all agree that we don't really want it to come from our family and work and all of the other things that we have going on. So let's get started. Super excited. So tonight we're going to talk about losing fat without counting things. And when I say things, I mean calories, minutes of exercise, grams, carbohydrate numbers. We're going to talk about how to make this convenient, because if we're counting and we're relying on numbers, then it's not convenient, right? If we're stuck to MyFitnessPal, then it's no longer a convenient fat loss approach because we're busy, we're playing taxi, we have newborns, we're at home, whatever it is, we don't really have time to be consumed with all the numbers. So we're going to go over that a little bit too. We're also going to talk about how to go from a calorie counter to an intuitive eater. An intuitive kind of means like eating based on how you feel. So eating in a way that serves you, but also in a way that makes sense as a busy mom. So I don't think as busy moms, we can really be completely intuitive because we never really sit down to eat a quiet meal. Well, maybe we do sometimes, but that's not really the norm, right? We're normally eating standing up or with a crying baby or with milk spilled or whatever it is. So how do we become intuitive eaters without getting kind of like woo-woo and like getting super intuitive? So how can we make that work? How can we perform workouts that are efficient and convenient for fat burning? How can we lose fat in a convenient way? And most of all, how do we make this a lifestyle so that it's not a plan, it's not we're following these guidelines? How can we make this work for us? So let's get started. If you have questions, I see some of you already chatting in the chat box. There's a chat box to your right and you can just write in there and everyone will see it and it's there for your questions. If you have questions after the training, make sure you email me and I will be happy to answer you. And make sure you stay tuned for 2 amazing giveaways at the end. So hang tight and I will definitely honor your time because I know time is precious. So we are gonna go not super quick, but we will definitely end in a timely manner so I have time for your questions and then you have time to get on with your evening. So 5 ways the numbers are keeping you from the convenient fat loss approach. So why do I not like numbers? Why do we not like numbers as busy moms? They keep us obsessed because we become obsessed with, oh my gosh, how many grams of protein and how many grams of this and how much should I? It's always about what I should be doing. We're never satisfied with what we are doing. It keeps us in that dieter's mindset of having to meet certain expectations of someone else's, not our own. And then when it doesn't fit, then what? You know, I always ask that. When the scale doesn't meet your expectation, then what? When you don't eat the number of grams that your plan tells you, then what? What happens? So what is convenient fat loss? We kind of touched on this. It fits with your lifestyle. It ditches the rules. It works for you and not against you. It gets you results with less stress. It's effortless. It saves your mental energy, and that is so huge for us as busy moms. And it is enjoyable. You are actually eating things that you enjoy, and that doesn't mean you're eating pizza and cookies all day, because I think we can all agree that that doesn't make us feel very good, right? If we're eating all that stuff all the time. But it does allow you to, like I said, go on vacation or travel or whatever and be okay. Go to McDonald's and feel confident that you're going to be okay and not stress about the little things. So it's things that we hear like, gosh, that'd be really cool to be able to go through a drive-through and just eat what I want. But we always think, but that can't happen, or we weren't allowed to do that, or my plan tells me I'm not allowed to do that. So how can we make that work? So let's talk a little bit about the numbers. We're going to talk about 5 ways the numbers are keeping you from being fit and healthy. Let's first talk about the scale. So you know me, you know how I feel about the scale. It cannot be the only measure of fat loss for you. It measures water, fat, muscle, and I'm sure you know if you use the scale, it varies from hour to hour. Can you type in the chat box if you use the scale? Can you just put like scale user or yes, just so I know you're here with me? Awesome. Okay, so the scale doesn't really tell us whether we're losing fat. The scale is a complete mind game. You can't predict it. So many times we think, oh, we're doing so good, we're hitting our workouts, we're following our plan, and then what? The scale doesn't change, right? It just stays. You can't predict it. No matter how good you think you're doing, you cannot predict what's happening on the machine that is run by batteries. You can lose fat without a change in the scale. So you can lose fat and see really not a lot of change going on in the scale. That happens all the time when women start to balance their hormones, start to work out, start to get some muscle. You don't have to be the lowest weight possible. In fact, that's probably not the best thing, because when you lose too much weight, you could easily be losing your muscle, and we don't want to do that. And it ruins your mood, right? You wake up in a great mood and you're like ready for the day, and then what do? You go step on the scale, and all of a sudden you're a loser, you're fat, you're gross, your pants all of a sudden get tight, right? Like how many times have we done that? We think, gosh, we're doing so good, and then the scale ruins our day. So I have a woman in my coaching club right now, and she loves the scale, she's always on it, and she got on today and it was up, but then she said, but I've been doing everything that I should have been doing. And how many times do we say that, right? We've been doing everything we should have been doing. All right, so how do we measure fat loss? Pictures, measuring tape, clothes, and most of all, how do you feel? So how do you feel when you eat? You know when you feel good. You feel pretty good after you eat somewhat healthy food. You feel like garbage when you eat a few days of junk food. You start to crave healthy food, and if you don't, you'll get there. It really can happen. So we're talking about non-scale victories here. We're talking about wearing shorts and feel good. We're talking about having no idea what the scale says. And just imagine what would happen if you didn't know. What would life be like if you went through the day and had no idea what you weighed? Just think about it. Like, how would that make you? Would that make you feel anxious? Would that make you feel like, wow, this is like really freeing to not know? All right, calories. So what matters for fat loss? We talk about hormones, we talk about sleep, stress, lifestyle, exercise, diet. Calories do nothing with you. They don't take into account you or your satisfaction. So how do you move from a calorie counter to an intuitive, like I mentioned, intuitive eater is someone who's kind of more in touch with how they feel, eater. Can you do this for life? Do you want to do this for life? Do you want to count calories for life? Absolutely not. I don't think any of us want to count calories for our life. Do we have time to be inputting our food into food trackers and calorie counters all the time? Absolutely not, right? And I don't know about you, but I lied in my food tracker. I just put in what I want to put in. So if I eat a piece of dark chocolate, I don't put it in, or if I don't really tell it the whole truth. And when we focus on eating fat loss foods, the calories usually take care of themselves, and it's really not a big issue. So let's talk about exercise. This is number 3 for the numbers. It's not about the time, because who has time to spend hours at the gym? I know I don't, and I know a lot of you probably don't either. You don't need a certain amount of minutes to lose fat. There is no rule that says you must exercise for 40 minutes to lose fat. There is absolutely no rule. And you can and will lose fat without doing less steady state cardio. That doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means that you don't have to do 30 minutes on the elliptical, or you don't have to run 3 miles every day, because there are other ways actually more efficient ways to lose fat. And this is definitely not about exercise tonight, so we're not going to delve too much into it. But in the Healthy Mom Guidebook, I go into so much about exercise and what we as busy moms need as exercise. But what are the best types? If we're going to categorize it as best types, we're going to talk about high intensity, short duration sprints, strength training such as metabolic conditioning, kind of lifting weights faster to get the heart rate up and get the burning in the muscle. Less time, more fat burning. Bottom line, you must like your exercise. If you wake up every day and you hate your workout, you are less likely to stick with it, right? If you're a morning exerciser because that's your only time, and you know you have to get up and do something you hate, it's pretty good you're gonna hit the snooze button. I mean, we're pretty certain that that's gonna happen, maybe not right away, but soon it will. All right, number 4, we're gonna talk about logging grams, and we kind of touched on this a lot, but if you log everything you eat, you become obsessive. You become obsessive with what the tracker wants you to hit, and you no longer think about, do I even want that food? How do I feel when I eat that food? You just think about, oh, I gotta hit 100 grams of protein. What can I eat to hit that? And you really lose touch with that intuitive side, that side of how do I feel? You cannot sustain fat loss lifestyle if you are constantly weighing your food. Real life. If you are in the car playing taxi all day and you stop at McDonald's, where are you going to weigh your food? You have to be able to just say, you know what? This is going to be okay. I know how to make good choices. This is going to do. And you will start to see this freedom open up. So how do you make the switch from being an excessive counter to someone who becomes a little more intuitive? So something I use with my clients is to just listen to your body. In Healthy Mom Guidebook, I give a 20-second super quick assessment that you can ask yourself before and after you eat, so that it just kind of stops you before you delve into the popcorn or the snap peas or whatever it is that your go-to type thing. When you actually stop and ask, do I really even want that? You know, tonight at dinner I was eating tortilla chips and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even want these. They don't even taste that good, but I'm just eating them because they're there, right? How many times do we eat because we're there? It's there. And then we talk about tracking your HEC, which is from Metabolic Effect, which is your hunger, energy, and cravings. And this is kind of a little bit different because it's a biofeedback tool, but we know that nothing will work unless your hunger and your energy and cravings are satisfied. If you're walking around starving all day, you're probably not going to stick to your plan. If you are craving everything in sight, you're not going to stick to your plan. So this is really the only way to lose fat and sustain a healthy mom lifestyle. You have to feel good about what you're eating, and it has to work for you. So like I say, if you are a cooker and you like to cook, that's fine. Go ahead and cook. But like for me, I don't cook. So if someone told me that I had to do that, it would drain me. It wouldn't work. I wouldn't like it, and it wouldn't be sustainable for me. And that's what we're gonna delve into. The last one is deadlines and timeframes. Fat loss doesn't have a deadline. There's no such thing that tells you that you have to lose fat in so-and-so months or days. And I get it. We all have times where we're gonna go to the beach or we're gonna have an event and we wanna tighten up. Tightening up is very different than a lifestyle. There are certainly times when we wanna tighten up, we wanna cut some things out, totally normal. But as far as making it our lifestyle is constantly on, off, that is draining, and that is what we want to get out of. We want to get out of that. So let go of the expectation to lose fat in so many months, because everybody's different. We all have a unique metabolism, and everyone has a unique fat loss formula. So my formula is going to be different than yours and your neighbors and your sisters. And just because our husbands, right, they always lose fat right away, and then we're over here like doing everything we can and nothing's moving. So it's just something to keep in mind. There is no such thing as a one size fits all. There's no such thing as a meal plan that works for everyone. If there was, I don't think we'd be having this conversation, right? All right, so let's talk about healthy mom lifestyle without the numbers. So I want you just to take a minute on a Post-it or on a piece of paper or wherever you are, or just even think about these questions. What are your goals? What are your goals? Do you want to lose fat? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to just maintain where you are? Do you want to maintain where you are without the added stress? Do you want to be the cleanest eater? Do you want to be 100% paleo? Do you want to be on a no sugar diet? Are you interested in eating grass-fed meat all day long? What do you want? What do you really want to be, the super clean eater, or do you want something that's a little more sustainable? Just something to think about. And where do you want to spend your mental energy? Do you want to, because we all know we have just so much capacity in our head. So do we want to spend our energy being a mom and a wife, at work, working out? Do we want to focus on those things, or do we want to spend half our day tracking our food and planning our meals? So I think that's something to think about, and there's nothing wrong. There's no right or wrong answers. Those are just questions I want you to think about, so you can think about how this is going to work for you. Because if you are out to be the cleanest eater and you want to be, 100% paleo, which, is no condiments and no this and no that, and you like rules, then convenience isn't going to be your thing. So how do you create a convenient fat loss plan for you as a busy mom? How do you do this? All right, let's talk. Number one, the only plan that works is the one that's for you. And I say this all the time, and I know you're probably like, oh, here she goes again. But it's so true, because if your plan doesn't work for you, and I told you you have to wake up and eat eggs every morning, and you want to vomit by day 5, then it's not going to work, because you're either going to skip it and you're going to binge later at lunch. You're going to suck them down and be like, okay, what's next? So you have to think about what is going to work for you. We have to think about our bodies and our metabolism. My metabolism is going to be very different being pregnant and just had a baby than, say, my mom who is nearing menopause. We're going to have very different situations. So if she ate what I ate and I ate what she ate, we wouldn't have the same results. So we have to take into account our hormones, our lifestyle. All of those things are very important when we create our plan. So it's very important to take time to understand your body so that it does become effortless. And I know it's like, oh, I don't have time to take care of my body, but it's what gets us the freedom that we're after. So there's no perfect foods that you must eat. So you don't have to eat grilled chicken. You don't have to eat spinach or whatever, you've heard that you have to eat egg whites, not eggs, whatever it is. You have to eat what works for you. You have to eat what satisfies you and what keeps you happy. I mean, there's something to be said about being satisfied after you eat versus being miserable, right? I mean, I think we all want to be happy. So I want you to think about, what would life be like if you ditched the meal plans and you ditched the rules telling you you can't eat after 6 p.m. You can only have 1 cup of coffee. You must have spinach instead of iceberg. I mean, think of all the rules we've heard, right? I mean, I can think of a million because I think I used to follow them all. Listen to your body and focus on the big rocks of fat loss. So when I say big rocks of fat loss, I'm not talking about sodium. I'm not talking about sauces or condiments or creamer. Those are small rocks, because I can promise you I spent probably many years blaming my weight gain on things like ketchup. I was like, it must be the ketchup. I'm using too much ketchup. It wasn't the can of nuts that I was eating on my drive home from work, right? Because how could it be that? Or it wasn't, I would go completely 0 carb. And so what happens by the end of the night, I'm ready to eat a loaf of bread. So I eat a massive amount of granola, but it couldn't be that. It's probably the creamer in my coffee, right? So we focus on these small things because, of course, they're easier to tackle, but that's not what it is. I want you to think about the big rocks. So when we talk about convenience, people are like, oh, but that has sugars, or that has sodium, or that has blah, blah, blah. Of course it does. But it also is convenient. And if eating beef jerky from a gas station is going to keep me on plan instead of not eating or stressing out or doing whatever I need to do to try to get home to eat my grilled chicken and broccoli, I'm going to eat the jerky, sodium or not. It's just going to happen. So tracking fat loss is important. And why is that important? Because if you have a certain goal, you have to know what's working and what's not. So many times we think we're doing everything we should be doing, but we're really not, because we really don't know what we're doing. So when I say tracking, I just mean bi-weekly. Stay in touch with how you feel. Your body is your best. Your body knows you better than anyone else. It's going to tell you when it doesn't like what you're doing. I think we all know how good it feels to eat healthy, to lose some inches, to work out. We get that workout high. We feel great. It's very different than when you eat pizza and then ice cream and then you just feel off. You don't feel yourself. And when you just stay in touch with that, you will be able to track a little bit easier. Even a pair of jeans. Pair of jeans is great. Number 4, exercise in a way that you enjoy. I can't stress that enough. Intensity beats time. It's no longer about 1-hour classes. And I teach group exercise, and I still will tell all of my students that they don't need to be there for an hour and to please don't stress about coming, because it's really not that important. If you have 20 minutes, make the most of your 20 minutes. If you have 10, make the most of 10. I will also say that lowering stress by engaging in restorative activities is absolutely key, especially for moms, new moms who are, their estrogen and progesterone are in the toilet postpartum, and then older moms who are just stressed with life, and then even grandparents or older moms who are nearing the menopause where your hormones just don't even know where they are yet. That is so key to lower your stress. And once you start doing it, you'll see it's not really a waste of time. You'll start to see the results and you'll start to crave that time. Schedule downtime in your day and just remember that rest is equally as important as intensity. So many times we want to push ourselves through that workout or through that run, but it's super important to remember that rest is just as important. So fat loss tip number 5, have patience. Finding your fat loss formula takes time, but losing fat without obsessing it is worth it. So fat loss can be effortless, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen without extra time in the kitchen or the gym. So I want you to think about your day and what your day looks like, and think of ways right now to make it easier. Ways that you've been telling yourself, no, I can't do blank because I'm not allowed to do. Maybe it's waking up in the morning and having a shake instead of eating. Maybe it is at lunch eating out instead of stressing out about packing your lunch. Maybe when you get home from work, having a glass of wine is going to keep you out of the millions of snacks that your hands are usually in. And I know you're like, but a glass of wine, and I'm not saying if you drink wine, you're going to lose fat, but I will say if you drink one glass of wine over a box of Cheez-Its, you're going to be better off, right? If one Diet Coke is going to take the edge off for the night, then is the Diet Coke really that bad? And I know Diet Coke is not good. I'm not saying it is, but I'm also saying to have an open mind when it comes to convenience fat loss approach. I eat jerky every single day. Every single day I eat some sort of jerky because it's high in protein, it's crunchy, it's chewy, and it keeps me from eating the Pirate's booty or whatever it is. I drive around with in my car. If you looked in my car, you'll probably see 4 bags of jerky, which is probably disgusting. But I don't really like protein bars. They don't agree with my stomach. So like jerky is like my thing. That's what I always have. A cheese stick. There's certain things that I like always have to have because it takes the edge off and it makes it very effortless. I'm never thinking, gosh, what should I eat? Whatever. Same thing with going out to eat, right? Like we have these things where we go out to eat and we feel like it's a treat. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just going out to eat. It's just a meal. You know, one of the girls I work with was saying that she's not really feeling hungry. So I said, okay, so don't eat. But then she said, but it's really not that. It's really that nothing like sounds like really good. And I said, does it always have to sound really good? Does every time we eat have to be like such an occasion? Not really, because if we're busy and we're trying to just fuel our body, it's just got to happen. Sometimes we just have to eat. So I want to share this picture with you. This is me actually. The picture on the left is me actually running a 15K. And I'm not thin there. I'm actually weigh the same amount as I do in the middle picture when that's the day before I gave birth. And so the picture on the left, I was doing excessive amount of exercise, like 2+ hours and eating very little. I don't think I even ate the morning before that race. I'm talking very restrictive dieter. When I became pregnant, I became a little more intuitive, a little more with let me just eat to fuel my body. Let me just eat to have a healthy baby, not really caring about the weight. And then the one on the right is like 100% convenience eating, like no cooking, eating out all the time. I eat takeout all the time. That's about 5 months postpartum. So no more cardio, really. I run every now and then, but not really. I do a lot of walking and a lot of strength training. So That's just me. That's just an example of what happens, that just because you eat convenience, you eat fast food or you eat out or whatever, that does not mean that you don't have the look that you desire. Because I personally like the one on the right a lot better than the one on the left. Personally, the look, not the person, just the look. I was very puffy on the left. You can't really see it, but super puffy. All right, so let's get to the giveaways, because I know we've been here for a while, so thank you so much. So 2 giveaways. I have 10 fat loss friendly breakfasts for you, and this will be available after the webinar, so write this down, www.SharonNelson.com/fat-loss-breakfast / and you can go there after the webinar. I'll open the page for you to download your breakfasts. And they're just quick, easy. Nothing I'm going to ever give you is going to be worth a lot of time, because I don't know how to even start there. And so I want you to go download that. And then I'm going to offer you a tool to help you get this convenience lifestyle. And it's yours to keep. It is the Healthy Mom Guidebook. And I'm sure some of you have seen that it just finished writing it. And what it is, it's a solution for busy moms. It teaches you how to make your convenient fat loss approach. So it comes with all workouts you can do at home, a schedule. It comes with over 30 recipes, 15 minutes or under, a fast food meal plan with real, like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, a fast food guide, a restaurant guide of what to order wherever you are, whether you're a Mexican or Italian or whatever, wherever you are. And then a whole lifestyle section with my habit model, which is the 20-second assessment on how to decide what you're eating, whether you're eating because you're stressed or you're tired, or why are you really eating? Do you really want that? So it's a little bit of intuitive eating. And for me, personally, from the moms I've worked with, it's as much as we can handle. I just think that saying that we're intuitive eaters is kind of like, wow, that's like a really big thing to open. So I wanted to give you just a little piece, and then how to create your plan. So I give you tons of meal plans, meal guides, how to structure your meals so that you can start to think, wow, like that's a whole day and it requires no cooking. How cool is that? Like all of her snacks are not cooked. None of her breakfasts are cooked. This is really cool. How can I do this? So that is coming to you, and you can go to SharonNelson.com/guide and grab your copy. It's going to close down tomorrow at midnight. So this is a great Mother's Day gift. And I'm also giving away 2 bonuses with that. So with the guide, you are getting an accountability booklet, 6 weeks worth of accountability where you can track your habits and what you learned and what you did well, as well as the opportunity to work with me one-on-one with a fat loss consultation, phone or Skype, whichever is better for you, to get your plan underway. So you can read the guidebook, and then we will take your lifestyle and kind of map out your plan. So I'm giving away one of those. So head over to SharonNelson.com/guide and grab that before tomorrow at midnight. And then let's talk about questions. So if there's any questions, you can write them to the right-hand side, and I will make sure that I get them. I don't see any so far, which is good. But if everyone can just give me a little comment in there so I know you're still here and not sleeping. I want to thank you so much for being here and taking time to learn a little bit more about how to make this work for you and how to make convenience fat loss something that can be part of your life. I want to show you that it's doable. My biggest hang up, I think, with the mom world, the mom industry, is that there's so many moms out there who are stuck and they're just not sure that they can never get to where they want to be because they feel like they have to do certain blank, blank, and blank. And the answer is that you don't, that you can eat McDonald's and still lose fat, and you can work out at home and still lose fat, and you can get to where you want to be. And I never want a mom to be stuck thinking that they have to do certain things. I want them to feel like they can achieve their goals because it works with their lifestyle. And I can't stress enough that when you find something that works with your lifestyle, it just makes it effortless. It's like a magical, it's a freedom. Finally, you're just not stressing. Brady asks about being a super picky eater and finding it to eat the normal healthy foods. And Brady, I'm gonna question, what is a normal healthy food for you? Like when you think of normal healthy, what do you think of? Do you think of chicken, broccoli? What do you think of? I eat the same thing probably every day. or close to it. So I want you to think about that. And if you want to ask me or continue, you can email me at info@sharonelson.com and we can continue on. But I think it's true. You know, you're a picky eater, and so we think we need to eat certain normal, healthy, but I think there's something to be said about you can make anything healthy. Does that sound, that sounds kind of out there, but I think it's kind of true, right? We can make anything work for whoever. I mean, I have vegan, whether even a vegan, right? They don't need a lot of protein, but we can still make it work. So email me and we can move forward on that. But thank you guys so much for being here. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you taking your time to learn with me. If you have any other questions, make sure you send me an email, grab your Healthy Mom Guidebook, and we will be in touch. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.